Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Shirley Gomez. I am a writer here at V Latina. Today we're going to have an amazing conversation and I'm going to pin it right away because I'm going to be joined by Samy Nemir Olivares. He is a Puerto Rican and Dominican queer activist that is also running to become an assembly leader at the Assembly District 53 that's in Brooklyn. So I'm going to be joined by him today. We're going to have an amazing conversation. We are going to talk about the new task force in the Democratic Party to include non-binary people in the elections and also to give more participation to females. And that's something that we definitely need to have a conversation with. So I'm going to connect with him right away. Samy is here. So please, as usual, let us know if you can see us and hear us properly. Because you definitely don't want to miss this conversation. So I'm going to connect with him right away. Are you there? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Hello, good morning.
good morning. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you? I'm super excited.
I am. You look gorgeous. So
Thank you so much. You look super good too.
thank you. I just woke up.
Well, I woke up like this. That's how this song goes, right?
Yes, yes.
So we as I was saying, we are going to have a great conversation. This week had happened a lot for you and overall in the Democratic Party. So before we go to that, I would like to explain a little bit for those who doesn't understand what the term non-binary means and the proper way to use pronouns and all that. So my very first question is what's the proper way to use pronouns? And for those who might don't understand, pronoun is like she, he, him, hers, I, all that. It's simply a word that you use to change someone's noun, like a name. So yeah, can you please tell me the best way to use it for non-binary people?
Yeah, and thank you for that question. I think it's great that you're asking, and that's precisely the way to use pronouns, asking. So it is not complicated because the person will tell you. I think we make a lot of assumptions about what people are, how do they identify, and who do they love. But it's something that gender we don't know, because one thing is the gender identity of how do I feel, how do I identify internally? Another thing is how do I express it? That's the gender expression. So when it comes to pronouns, that there's a lot of conversation happening and a lot of people are still confused. When we say our preferred pronoun, is that you ask the person, how do you identify? Which pronouns do you use? And then the person, but don't respond she, because let the person say, oh, I respond, and the person might tell you, I don't know, or I use she, or it could be he and they, which is the gender neutral, and there are other pronouns. So I think that now we're using, the name sticks, and you put your pronoun. People in solidarity are putting in their emails, and when you're in a conversation, don't assume that the person goes by she or they.
Mm-hmm.
Ask. And yeah, you say, what are your pronouns you use, in a very casual way, and the person will tell them. For example, like I use he and they sometimes, and because sometimes I dress up, people think that I just use only they because I look forming, but I also use he. So it is a matter of asking the person and making sure that we're respecting what the person how do they identify. So that's the pronoun, which could be also separate from the gender identity.
Okay, so if I'm a non-binary person and someone refers to me as she or he or whatever, in my case, should I let them know? Like, how can I let them know without them feeling, certain way, that I identified as specific, with a specific pronoun?
Ronan, yeah, I mean, misgendering is very, very toxic and very bad. I think we need to create this consciousness and education in our communities that it is who you are, right? It's the intrinsic identity that you have developed for so many years. Or for someone to not have the carefulness of trying to respect who you are in just like a word, it is really, hurtful, So, um, before going to the pronouns, so non-binary people are people who do not identify with male or female. And it's a very specific identity. And most of them use pronouns they, them, but not all of them. But the majority use they, them because their identity rejects any notion of male and female. It's not that they don't like it it's
Yes.
just that it's not who they are. There's
Okay.
genders and United States, America, like the Western culture box studies into the male and female that had never been like that. It has always been more than two genders since the beginning of times. So I think when you hear someone calling someone else by the wrong pronoun, you could, it's sometimes better not to say it and stop a meeting and like correct the person to make it the issue worse. But at the end, you could say the person, I believe this person identify with a she pronoun or they, them. And that's why it's so better ask at the beginning. And
Okay.
to avoid that any issue, sometimes I just use they for most people. For example, I say, well, them, they are, or the name, right? So I would say, oh, Shirley,
Correct.
and you always use the name of the person, and then you don't have to use the pronoun. So yes,
Got it.
there, yeah, talk to Samy instead of say talk to her, talk to him. You say talk
Okay.
to Samy. Samy wants this, Samy this, and it's actually
Perfect.
that I did in my campaign. All my sentences starts with Samy. And the people were, why so much Samy? It was well, you degenderize the language, and then you think genderize pronouns. And I am gender queer, gender non-conforming. To complicate things more, I'm not, right. So people assume, oh, if it's someone who transgressed the gender or use female clothing or male clothing, then must be non-binary. No, non-binary is a very specific gender identity of people who are neither of both gender. But there's something also called gender non-conforming, gender queer, who are people who are not conforming with the gender and express it differently, but not necessarily are not non-binary. If that
Okay, correct. Well, I mean, that's something that we need to learn and we need to study, and we need also to accept that everybody's different and everybody has the right to identify as they prefer, as they want. So the fact that you are giving us this lesson on what's the best approach, means a lot. So thank you for that.
No, thanks to you.
Just before we continue our conversation, I would like to let you know that I think we're having a little glitch with the internet because sometimes on your frame, I'm not sure if everybody can see you properly or hear you properly. So please let us know if you can see Samy and you can hear him. Because I believe that we are having like a little glitch with the internet. But while we figure that out, let's continue with our conversation. So right now, something that happened recently is the task force for the Democratic Party to with the same topic that the non to be more inclusive and give more participation to females and also non-binary people. Can you please explain us a little bit more? There's some people that see that say that they can see you clearly, and others know very blurry. I think we are having just a little bit problem with the internet. Some people can see you, but some others see you a little bit blurry. So
yeah, I'm fixing the
okay, so while you figure it out, I was asking you about the task force that exclude non-binary people, and it's going to give more participation. So please tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is like local politics and like local offices in the Democratic Party in Brooklyn, but also throughout this area, everywhere where you live in New York City. There are other boroughs that have these rules. Is that there are tiny seats at every block. Every block in New York City has a representative in the Democratic Party in the local office, and all those seats are divided by male and female. So you will run for female county committee member. So your block has two representatives, one's reserved for men, one reserved for women. So you say, that's great. Like, women have a seat at the table. That's very important. And that was actually passed in the 1920s by the women suffragists and feminists who fought for female participation. And Eleanor Roosevelt actually was one of the architects of this kind of like 50-50, reserving 50% of the seats to women so women can have a seat at the table. However, 100 years later, it's very clear and evident that there are more genders than male and female. So that's non-binary people, among others. Some other gender non-conforming people might not feel comfortable running as a male or female. And also some transgender people, while they identify with he or her, like male or female, it's still, they might not feel fully comfortable because they're in their transition or because it triggers them, for their transition. So I think that now what we're trying to, I ran for district leader and I won. And there was a lawsuit as well of 7 non-binary and transgender people who sued the Democratic Party to allow them to actually be part of, so they can run, because the male-female binary did not allow them. So the lawsuit didn't went through because it was a kind of bit late. But so the new chair of the Democratic Party, Rodney Bishop, the Assemblywoman, created this task force that now is going to move forward this issue and evaluate how we can change the rules so as to non-binary people, gender non-conforming people can run. However, at the very beginning, there was a lot of resistance, thinking that women are going to be opposed to it because you will take away the 50% quota that allow women to run. And the reality is that when they look at the numbers, we still believe that it's discriminatory. Even if it allows women to be 50%, it still comes at the cost of excluding an entire community that don't welcome, that you're sending a message that their identities are no value and do not exist. You could not run if you don't choose the female seat. So the reality is that after that quota, it helps so much that now over 60% of the seats are run by women because men are not running for some reason or other. So if we eliminate the rule, so everyone can run regardless of their gender, it will not be male, female, or non-binary, then we believe that now women can even have more seats at the table, can run more. Because in your block, before the 4 seats to represent your block at the Democratic Party, there were only 2 seats reserved for women. But now there's 4 friends, female women, who want to run. So if we eliminate the rule, then those 2 seats reserved for men that will stay empty now could go to a binary person, to another female, to whoever. And I think that that's what we are going to be advocating for. And I think it's going to send a message, that we need to educate and go beyond the gender and make sure that our local politics, our democracy includes everyone regardless of their gender.
That's fantastic. You mentioned also that you are running as an assembly leader for the Assembly District 53, which is Brooklyn, correct?
Yeah.
Can you please explain us what is an assembly leader, and if you are the winner, or if you are part of this group, can you please tell us what you're going to do? What are going to be your duties?
Right. So I'm running for district leader. It's very confusing, and I won the election a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But we were counting the ballots, and one second. And I think that Yeah, so what I'm doing is district leader runs in assembly district. So I'm the district leader of assembly district 53rd. The district leaders are the leaders of the Democratic Party. So the duties are to actually make sure that people are registered to vote, that the election works smoothly. And now this is very important, right? So the district leaders are the leaders of the Brooklyn Democratic Party or Manhattan Democratic Party, who makes the rules about the party, how the election goes, who works at the polls that day, how people can run for office, all of this, rules of the party. And yeah, so one of the things that I started advocating in the campaign and now was to change this rule that exclude. There's also roles that the district leaders do, female and male district leaders. I am the male district leader of Assembly 53rd. Is to also elect judges. So now we're talking about racial justice and the calls for, police reform and criminal justice. It is, for most people might not know, but it is people like me who get elected to public office for a position in the Democratic Party who chooses who are the judges for Supreme Court in Brooklyn and for surrogate court and for civil court.
Wow.
So it's very influential, but at the same time, for me, I want district leaders to have less say into that because our judicial system should not depend on 40 people. 40 people make the decisions on judges that are taking decisions on our Black and brown communities, on incarceration, on criminalization. So we need to reform that, and that's something that I will keep pushing as well.
That's fantastic. Samy, I know you are Puerto Rican. You was born in Puerto Rico. You're also Dominican. And
Yes.
recently, there was the primaries in Puerto Rico. And I would like to know, what do you think about the fact that both candidates are homophobic and it's, public, the fact that they are. Do you have any concerns? Are you worried about the situation at all?
I mean, yes, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I was, victim of bullying when I was growing up, all in schools, and it is very tragic for many LGBTQ people in Puerto Rico to feel that you're not welcome, that your identity is like ostracized, and politics is very toxic to begin with. In addition to that, it's very patriarchal, misogynistic, machista, y very homophobic. So I never thought that politics was not even in my realm of possibility in Puerto Rico because I know that it's very homophobic. And it's very concerning that, the leaders are still, saying homophobic things or espousing all those beliefs. However, I'm more hopeful at this time after seeing how Ricardo Rosselló, how much the entire country, thousands of people came out defending women, defending the death of Hurricane Maria, and also because of the homophobic comments, people were really angry that the political establishment in Puerto Rico were attacking Ricky Martin and all these things. So I think it was like a show of force, like a wake up call that Puerto Rico is not as homophobic as they thought. And they're just replicating this old idea. So I am very excited to see that evolution, how people are supporting other LGBTQ activists and movement in coalition with the feminist movement of Patria, the local feminist group. So I hope that they change their minds and, move forward LGBTQ policy once and for all now that they're in power, because, we have seen killings of LGBTQ people in the past year or two. And homophobic attack and the press, etc. So I hope that they change their mind, and if they want to be a state of United States, especially this pro statehood party, that they actually make sure that they are updated with the laws and the inclusion of LGBTQ people in the United States.
That's great. Sammy, something that I really like about you is how progressive you are. You are definitely changed, giving us like a fresh look. You are someone completely different. You have a different approach for everything. You are really fighting for social justice. You're doing whatever it takes to, give us hope and fight for all of us. Just like the same way AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is doing, and I know that you really are a fan of hers, of Alexandria. Let's keep it non-binary. I would like to know if you have met her. What are your thoughts? I know that yesterday you posted something about her appearing in the Democratic, the digital Democratic convention, and I know you were very excited, very much looking forward. And have you ever had any encounter with her? Have you met her before?
Yes, I mean, Alexandria is our queen. She's our idol. And mostly because, not only because she's like, smart and wit and progressive, is that she's the voice of an entire generation. I think she speaks for us when she's like fighting for healthcare, for housing, for the environment. And it was that kind of voice that we were hoping to see ourselves, the thought of that new generation that is more progressive, more inclusive, more diverse. And she just had the opportunity to get into this huge platform in Congress and the media as well, and use it and like speak her mind the way that we all were thinking, but didn't have the opportunity to do so. So she's my idol, my political idol. I align with her 300%, and everything that she says is perfect, and because it's very attuned to the grassroots, to our communities, to what our generation believes. We are tired of the establishment, tired of like incrementalism and like small moves, and like we're looking for a big change, because we feel that United States kind of like a old Windows 98 computer that hasn't get an upgrade, and like we need like a revamp it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the struggles of our women, documented population, immigrants, LGBTQ, and how the parties have not put as much attention or like political with, especially the Republican Party. So I met Alexandria like twice, two times in Queens. She was in the birthday of Catalina Cruz, sorry, the Assembly women, and she's super nice. I think one of her biggest qualities are her transparency and like lightness. You can tell that she's very center women, that she meditates and she has gone through a lot of healing. I don't know if she went to trauma, but I think you could see how she put a lot of self-work and self-love, and that irradiates. And I think that that's super important for anyone who is like an influencer or like in politics, is just to do that personal work. And it's very clear and it's abundant, and she's very happy and like very social and open, and like she takes photos with everyone. So it's been an honor, but we haven't worked yet in something specific. But I look forward. I I will.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you see yourself, if you visualize yourself working like next to Alexandria, because not for nothing, I truly believe that if she has you as part of the team, you will be an amazing asset. So Alexandra, if you ever see this live stream, please, the people is asking you to embrace Samy in your team, because that will be mind-blowing, honestly.
Thank you, thank you. No, I mean, I would love to support her and work for her. We did. I helped her team when she went on RuPaul. She went on RuPaul Drag Race to be a judge, and I was helping the team to curate and bring voices like transgender people into the Q&A that she was doing on her Instagram, and and other policies. So yeah, we need more voices like Alexandra Ocasio Cortez. I mean, I would love.
And like you.
And like me. And like you,
Thank you.
that's the beauty of what Alexandra did. That is just show that you don't have to study politics, or well, she did, but that you don't have to be, a career politician. That we need so many voices like her, people who are working in restaurants, and people who, are trades and other professions, that everyone should step up. And like, if you have that urge of, saying something and like fight for something, that, politics is something that you should explore somehow, or support other candidates to fight for justice, because we don't need to be out on themselves. I think the power of AOC is all this like millions of people that support her throughout the entire country. So yeah.
That's great. Speaking of support, how can we support you? I know that you have a website. Are you still taking donations? Are you looking for volunteers? Please let us know. For everyone interested in having a career working with you, working next to you, how can they support you and all the amazing things that you are doing for Brooklyn and later to the whole nation?
Thank you. That's so nice. So, something that people don't know is district leaders don't get paid. It's a voluntary position. It does not get a staff, and it does not get an office. Like nothing. It's just like you get appointed by this, and then you have to go and do all this work.
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. Exactly. So yes, I'm gonna do a program to get monthly donors, so we can create an office, kind of like pay like a little office, and like few hours per week we can do constituent services, which is helping people. I live in Bushwick, where we don't have even a council member, so we're gonna be helping people, particularly undocumented families, to access, navigate some services when it's food or like housing assistance, and finding ways and programs that they can benefit from, that they don't have access, otherwise, that they don't understand. They need Spanish translation, etc. So yes, and volunteer. We're doing a lot of census work, because we need to get counted in New York City. So there is like a website. In the website, you can sign up to volunteer, or like add your email, and we will be sending emails about updates and the campaigns that we will be having. So it's an exciting year. The November election, the census. Next year, 2021, is the city council. There's going to be a lot of women and LGBTQ people running for city council, for 40 open seats. So a lot of opportunities. And I work very closely with a lot of powerful female, also politicians, like Senator Julia Salazar, our Congresswoman Nidia Velasquez. So I'm super excited to partner and teaming up with them in the activities. So if you want to come to Bushwick, I live like few blocks from House of Yes, and like this is our area. Yeah, just come, and we can, do some civic engagement, and telling all our communities, women, Latinx, that we need to get registered to vote, and that we need to get engaged, because we cannot afford more years of Trump.
Correct. So for everybody who wants to have more connection with you, where they can follow you, and also remind everybody the exact URL of your website.
Sure. So I posted the website on the comments, which is Samy.nyc, SAMY.nyc, and my political account for Instagram, which is Samy for Brooklyn. And there is where I put all the information about the campaign, and you can DM me, and we can chat and see what can we work together.
Fantastic. Well, as soon as this pandemic is over, I promise that I'm gonna go. I live in Riverdale, New York.
Okay.
We're far away from Bushwick, but I'm very much looking forward to go visit. I'm going to slide in your DMs, so you can give me a tour. You can show me what are you doing. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be very exciting. I want to thank you so much for taking some time, spending some time with me today, this morning. I am very much looking forward to, more of your career, political career. I'm also very much looking forward to see you working next to Alexandria. Let's manifest that to the universe. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. amazing. Keep the good work. You are one of a kind, and we are very honored and very blessed to have you representing not only the LGBT community, but also all Latinos, all Hispanics. So muchas gracias.
No, gracias a ti, que tengas buen día y mucha suerte y sigue, sharing and highlighting that importance of like the intersectional identities of all of us. So I am very grateful. Thank you for the interview and like getting our communities politicized because that's where our power will lie. So thank
Perfect. You. So for everyone who wants to watch this interview one more time, it's going to be in a couple of minutes in our feed. So thank you once again, Samy. Enjoy the rest of your day, your week, your month, and your year. And I will slide in your DM soon.
Come to Bushwick, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.